G'day, Andrew Murray here from The Apartment Specialist. Welcome to our channel. Today we've got Pete here from the team.
How's it going?
Cool. Today we're talking about questions, and we're talking about 5 questions that you can ask your real estate agent to figure out if they're any good. Okay, so Pete, what's the first question?
The first question I would be asking is, I'd want to get a gauge on their performance. So I'd be asking for the last 10 sales that they've done. I'd want to know where they rank in the buildings that they've done them in regards to value. The reason I want to be asking these questions is, first you want to know is your agent just selling for turnover? Okay, selling lots of apartments for turnover. The second reason is to see if they are getting the highest prices.
Okay, good point, because the thing is real estate agents, the top real estate agents in our industry are actually judged on how many apartments they sell or properties they sell, not how well they sell them. And that's a good question. That's going to tell you how good you are at selling them, because how good, what values did you get for your owners? Okay, good point. Okay, the second question would be, yes, it's great hearing how great you are as an agent, but I want to know how are you going to get higher prices than your competition? And what it's going to tell me is what are they doing differently? Okay, and how are they thinking about the marketing? How are they thinking? What extra mile are they going to go? So Pete, what's the next question you got?
The next question I would be asking is, what kind of relationships do you have with the other agencies? Because that's actually going to give you a bigger buyer pool as a vendor. The bigger your buyer pool, the more chance you're going to get the best price for your property. So if you've got a good relationship with the other agencies, you're not only going to get the best buyer from our market, but you're going to get the best buyer from the whole market.
We're in a modern world now, and especially with social media and all that kind of thing. Look, we've got a very large market share of the apartment market, so we've got most of the buyers, but I can't say we've got every single one. Especially with the whole using Facebook and all this kind of thing. So you want your agent to be able to work with other agents. So exactly what you said, you know, because the owner is guaranteed to get the best price from the whole market, not just your agencies. Number 4 would be my turn. So I'm talking about, okay, what are your selling points? You know, I want to hear from the agent what are your selling points about my apartment? And what I want to hear is they're not just talking about the apartment, they're also talking about the building, and they're talking about the area, what's happening in the area. And that can add tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to your apartment if things are happening. So I want to hear that. Pete?
The last question I would be asking, how do you deal with the objections on my apartment? The first thing an agent should really be doing is find out what are the objections with the apartment, so that when they're faced with them, they know how to handle them already. Perfect example of that is if you've got an apartment on Queen Street, the apartment being sold as the one in the back, it's got no views and it doesn't get much light. That could be a negative versus the ones on the front that have a deck where all the sound comes up and they're very noisy. So it's all about perception and just dealing with the pros and cons.
That's true, because we often talk about what's great about an apartment, but so many sales are created from getting a buyer to see the pros of something that they first thought was negative, like an apartment that doesn't get direct sunlight, but hey, it's actually quiet. Thanks, Pete. I'm just going to run through those last 5 questions again because they're good stuff. Now, the first question is, what are your last 10 sales results? The apartments you sold, and how do they rank in the building that you sold them in? Number 2 is, how are you going to do the job differently to your competition that makes you get high prices? Number 3 is, what is your relationship with other agents? How do you deal with other agents to increase that buyer pool? Number 4 is, what are the selling points of my apartment, my building, and my area? Number 5 is, what are the objections you're likely to hear? And how are you going to turn them? Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in, Pete. Cheers.